As the morning of November 7th crept up on us in southeastern Pennsylvania, the woods that we as archery hunters call home were alive with life. The one time in archery season where hunting is not just hunting, it is what we live for as archery hunters, the rut. On this Sunday morning in Pennsylvania, the woods were alive with life. Around 8 a.m. across from our property that Brian and I hunt, we've been seeing lots of movement with does and big bucks chasing smaller ones. This was the sign that the rut was starting. The rut is the one thing that as we hunters live for. Bucks are busy sparring with each other, rubbing trees, creating scrapes, and chasing hot does. This makes the rut an ideal time to stick out a long day for a big PA bruiser, and that is what we had in mind. Brian and I set up a plan for what we were going to do. We head down to our property and set up 2 singles. Around 12 a.m. on this brisk Sunday morning, as we were getting everything set up, we see this nice 8-point buck patrolling the area, another sign that the rut was starting. The plan was to wake up at 4:30 in the morning and stick out the 25-degree temperature to get a big PA buck on the ground. As we walk in, we drag Dopey down the clearing to try and cover up our scent and get a buck to follow it in. For the first hour and a half of our all-day sit, there's nothing going on, and we thought it was going to be a really long day. The first deer that we see is a small button buck that gets pushed out into the clearing, but with still no hope, around 8:30 we start grunting and rattling, and things start to pick up. I kept seeing some deer on the nearby ridge, but no good looks at them. 15 minutes later, we see a small spike on the creek, and he walks up the ridge. As he is walking, I see a nice shooter 8-point 40 yards to the left of us. I inform Brian about the shooter, and we start rattling and grunting for him to come, but no budge. He walks into a thick bedding area to the north of us. 20 minutes later, I see a doe and a few other deer on the ridge, but no good looks again. As we sit through the freezing PA weather, Brian notifies me that there are 2 deer in the creek, about 50 yards, but he doesn't have a good look. I start to look through the camera and see the side of their racks, and they both seem to be shooters. They move up the ridge, and as we grunt and rattle, still no budge into the PA bucks. As we are losing hope in this day, I see the shooter 8-point coming right back up the creek, and Brian starts to grunt and rattle again. The shooter 8 still will not budge or even look over at us. As we are watching the shooter walk away, we look about 150 yards up the ridge where I've been seeing deer and see a brute of a southeastern buck staring right down the valley. He is on a rope to us, and as we start to get ready for him to cross the clearing, "Here he comes," Brian says, as I am stumbling to get the camera on him. "We thought we were screwed," Brian says after the hunt. "The deer is walking straight downwind of us, but the dopey saved us." And this is what happens.
this wasn't the largest wreck taken in Montgomery County for sure, but it was all the other things that went into this hunt that made it so incredible. We saw what was going on in the woods the day before. We put a plan in place, and we executed that plan flawlessly. I got to shoot my brand new Matthews V3, put a perfectly ethical, great shot on the deer. It was expired in about 60 seconds, ran about 18 yards. But most importantly, what was so great about this hunt was being able to spend time in the woods with my son as the cameraman and recording our first hunt on camera together. It was perfect. It was awesome. I'd like to give a special shout out to Jerry at North Mountain Gear for outfitting our cameraman Nolan, kept him concealed from view and able to get the shots to really make this video come through. So thanks to you guys, and appreciate the partnership.